welcome to Star Stop. Today I say this not too often. Why? Because I don't think we have ever had filmy royalty sitting in front of me. And today is one of those days. It's a real privilege and a pleasure, sir, to have you on the show. We've had so many film stars come sit across here. Very few, I think, have done as much as you have in the entire gamut of films and things beyond it. It must feel quite surreal sometimes when you sit and have a random person who you met 3 minutes ago discuss your life in front of you. Have you ever got used to this, or has this ever, have you not liked this process of promoting films?
No, I didn't come from another life into films. People who have trained as actors, they have another life to talk about. I woke up into cinema. So I actually, integrating into regular life is a chore for me.
Oh, really?
So for me, this is the world I grew up in. I'm quite comfortable in it. Now I include and integrate life and try to live life as much as possible, because this fame was, I didn't even know was available, and it was there. And I'm fortunate that it kept pace with my life and let me be only for 6 or 7 years a common man.
When was the last time you were able to, or any country in the world where you were able to walk normally and live this life of a recognizable human being? Any place on earth where you've been able to go off late?
It's not about recognition. I don't mind recognition now, but you'll be surprised. As recently as a few weeks back, I now walk in the streets
really
happily because of my vocation, politics, and the distance, that cordoning is gone.
But is that also something new for you now? Because you haven't done it for like 20-30 years.
Yes. Now they see me for what I am. They don't call me by character names. They are not waving at a star.
Yes.
When they don't even mean it as a joke or a vague annotation. They really want me to come home to eat. Before there's this diffidence when they ask that question. Now are you thirsty? Do you want some water? That kind of a thing happens now.
It's difficult also because now they expect you to be no longer the demigod that they worshipped for all these years. It'll be tough for you, maybe.
No, because I'm a godless man, so it's easy for me, and I never thought myself as anything else but myself. So it's making my life easy, and no pretense. I can tell them, no, I'm not thirsty, and they let me be. And the kind of new recognition and respect that I get, I rejoice and enjoy.
There's a young generation, I don't think, that knows enough of the greatness of Kamal Haasan. I'll tell you something, sir. A few years back, I read this book, The Definitive Biography of Rajnikant, sir. In the book of Rajnikant, there was a paragraph which started about you, and an entire chapter dedicated to you, which said that all of us did things to appease the audience, what they wanted. No risks, masala, it worked. But there was one man who was head and shoulders and like miles above us. And that was you, because you did what you felt was right. The audience saw it and they loved it. In another individual's biography, I was reading about you, and that day, I think it really hit me, as to, I've seen your cinema, but I just realized, imagine somebody was booked about this. It's an unreal status to have in India. They said that all the actors, as they say in Hindi, ek taraf, and Kamal sir is one taraf. So this is the kind of reverence that there is for you in this industry and this country.
I'm grateful for them because I did not do it for acknowledgement. I truly believed in it, and to even know that they do recognize it makes all the so-called pain I assumed
when
it
you were
was
doing
pain.
It, yes.
I think it's a process. I call it pain, but the process is worth it because they now recognize it, and so it was not a bad decision after all.
But lots of risks were taken, which did not always yield great results for you. As you know, as an actor, was it always troublesome?
Even for them. they must have had dreams. How many dreams they must have crushed just to kneel before the altar of success.
Yes.
And every time they were not promised that. It's not at all films done by those biographers, auto or otherwise.
Yes.
The heroes of those biographies, they did not see success all the time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they pined for it as much as I did. But they were willing to be subservient, and they were even more humble than me, and they were punished for their humility, whereas I was rewarded for my dare.
When you're a pioneer, I guess, in your field, and there is nobody to really follow, as in your case, you were forging ahead on your own.
No, that's not true. Because
But a lot of the times you were. A lot of the times you were on a different
I
path.
had great heroes. I picked and choose from those heroes. They had individual qualities. That Shivaji Saab's dedication, Nagesh Saab's dedication, Mr. Balchandra's dedication, our Dilip Saab's dedication. All that I try to emulate. The passion of Guru Dutt, K. Asif Saab, Shantaramji, the grandiose vision of Shantaram Saab. These are all it became my DNA.
But did you try and find your own, like a Kamal Haasan in all of them also, or were they just 10% here, 10% there?
Yeah, I wonder who their heroes were, because the medium itself was young, nascent. So where did they pick their heroes from? I had a buffet in front of me. I had Mr. Ray, Mr. Benegal Saab, and I could pick from great qualities they had, and I did.
But were you like just lapping up cinema, and that's how you were discovering what you wanted to do, or who you wanted to be? Is that your cinema?
Yes. I've learned from the great masters without them knowing. If there is copyright for knowledge, then I am.
It's all right. That much plagiarism is allowed.
I can look for legal suits because I've taken from everybody.
What is so interesting about your career, sir, is you go in and you go out. I mean, as far as, say, if Bollywood was concerned, you would take hiatuses. You would come in, you would see, and you would feel the waters, do certain kind of cinema, then you would leave. In the 80s at one time, tremendous success all over.
It was not by great design or strategy. I was simply very worried because the pace at which Hindi films were made, probably driven by their affluency.
Right.
We couldn't afford it, and I had to do a lot of experiments on myself. I want progress, and this was an impedance. They were quite very talented actors, were bogged down by the kind of films. I mean, some of the biggest stars like Amarji, he's capable of more. But he had to. He was a Samson with a haircut.
And also, between 1787, there was Rajesh Khanna, sir. I mean, at that point of time...
No, but
I think you can just...
See, Rajesh Khanna Saab did not come the route of Amarji. Amarji came in with aspiration. He tried various things. And then suddenly they gave him a haircut. Samson had to have a haircut. And they blinded him with his own stardom. The kind of, in spite of it, he still made it, and finally he's making the kind of films he would have wanted to do as a young man. Well, what a career.
But even at that time, I think it was an angry era in India. 80s, the 90s also, I think. It settled about in 2000. What is very interesting is, and I haven't seen a lot of your cinema in different languages, but you stayed away from aggressive cinema, as far as, say, action-oriented cinema or films. There was a lot of different cinema that you ended up doing. But unlike a lot of other actors, you did not do that kind of aggressive, beating up people and that kind of cinema with a purely action agenda. Were there any specific reasons for that?
Because I found, when I was a very young person, I found the kind of cinema that was offered to me to be juvenile. I was one myself, but I found it below my taste. I'm sure that, imagine a Doon School student like Amarji, how embarrassed he must have felt. Because his aesthetics must have been pretty high, and he comes from what kind of a family, and it must have been very difficult. I could say I didn't realize it then. What kind of? I thought, why are they not doing it? But how do you change the whole environment, ecosystem? Single-handedly, you didn't. But there were people who were trying it, like Rishida. Even with Amiji, he kept trying it. And applause should go to Amiji for pledging his stardom to those kind of films. And those were inspirations. Haribai kept doing that.
And you continue to do that on
and
your
I was
own?
watching
Like a lone
it.
ranger?
Yes, I was all alone there.
Yes.
Because nobody was doing it except my mentor, Mr. Balachandra. That was a lone ranger, all alone, doing only what he believed in at great risk to his own personal career. And he started his own company to raise his stakes higher. And made a fantastic company called Kavitalaya, which created an ecosystem for so many other talents to rise. And Mr. Balachandra is a single-handed combatant who gave confidence to people like Bharat Raja and others to rise, even Mani Ratnam. They all dared to step forward and do what they wanted only because he was this lone man doing battle.
And like so many have stepped forward looking at you as well. I see later on in your, or say, when this young millennium generation started to step in, we used to see you doing very different kind of cinema where it almost seemed anti-establishment at times, when the Hey Rams of the world had come out and Vishwaroop 1 had come out, and now, of course, the second version of it, it was almost like you were prepping yourself up to give the right message that you wanted to give, and it wasn't so much about, what the audience wanted to see. You wanted the stark reality, whether it was against Muslims or the issues that were there. It was very clear on that. So was there a definitive agenda, say from 2010 onwards, that this is what I want to show?
I think it started even earlier, but my opportunities were crimped, impeded, troubled. Maradanayakam would have been my stepping stone into politics itself. But I don't know whether people realized it or I had to make more money, so it didn't happen. Otherwise, it would have happened because it was a volatile film. I actually softened my pace after that project floundered. And I did Hey Ram almost with the same tenacity, but with lesser. But my work, my political voice had started, the volume increased with Hey Ram. And that continued.
Very, very difficult also. I think the south of India and the rest of India is very different politically. It's a very tough stronghold that is there down south. You have to make your own name. And I know that in the last 4 years, the political environment, even for watching cinema, I think the tastes have also changed. Now, independent tastes have come across. It's no longer just because it's a star, even in Bollywood. I mean, films don't do well at times. Similarly, I think with politics, a lot has changed, which is, I think, also helped you individually a lot.
We have money bags, popcorn sellers, and vested interests running the cinema. But actual people who create content should be cognizant of the customer. They were cognizant of the customer. They thought happy popcorn eating and partially watching a film is what cinema is all about. That's a general old-fashioned kind of thing. It still exists. In a corporate world, I'm surprised that idea still finds.
They keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, because it works. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
True.
But the whole idea of aesthetics is about refixing it all the time, because it's like technology. It's not going to stay the same for more than 6 months.
Now that you step into a world where the whole world can pass judgment on you, on a single line, which side you go on? It's no longer about Vishwaroopam or which film is coming out, you've got 30 days to go. It's about what you say every single day. Does it not scare you a little bit at all?
Life is like that. No, it doesn't. Because I've always lived life that way. Because as I usually say, you can't worry about the next morning and have dinner. You can prep for a better morning, but you can't be thinking of that. It ruins the dinner and ruins the next day morning too, as well.
But you've got lunch right now in front of you. Are you going to ever look at box office collections of Vishwaroop? You want to know how it's going to do? I mean, are you now, will you call a distributor on Sunday and say, is it doing okay?
I have a feeling they're going to call me.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of confidence that technicians of the film have.
Yeah.
And this is a feeling we felt before.
Right.
So we're guessing. But life throws surprises at you all the time, sometimes more than what you expected. One such surprise is that there was this trepidation that we had delayed the film a little too long,
5 years,
and it'll die in the womb, kind of a thing. But the kind of reception and expectation, that it's sort of a delayed reaction to the applause they are giving to Vishwaroop 1. That is the resonance that is helping Vishwaroop 2. And the kind of traction that it's getting from the audience and the expectation is very heartening for not only Kamal Haasan, the filmmaker, for any filmmaker, that there is still so much interest in times of webcasting and stuff like that. So much interest in congregating.
Because there's interest in you, sir. I'll tell you something. You cut across classes, you cut across the masses, you've cut across boundaries in India. I mean, I remember interviewing Prabhas here, and he said, you know, I'm so embarrassed that I've walked into a press conference and they've not gone crazy, you know, when he'd come down to Bahubali. And I felt embarrassed to tell all the press, saying, do you know who he is? Because, you know, there's a north and south divide that happens there. You cut across all boundaries, and that does not happen often, sir.
That's thanks to KB Saab's Ek Duje Ke Liye and Sagars, and those films made me popular. It's nothing special. I'm sure Prabhas, one more. And now Prabhas, you don't have to introduce Prabhas.
He's going to take a while with that. Just before you go, this new phase of life, you know, you're 60 plus now. You're going to look at another 15, 20 years of governance maybe. You're going to have friends that might turn into foes. You're going to have, you know, maybe paths that you're going to walk on that you might not enjoy as much as maybe you've enjoyed the craziness of being this godlike status that you've enjoyed all over. Is there a mantra that you follow in your daily life that everybody who's watching across the world would love to see Kamal Haasan tell us?
I'm not mantra driven. There's no magic in my life. I don't look for it. But I think life, like your breath, has to be seized. It has to be taken in, and that's what I'm doing. And this, I truly say, not to be mistaken for rhetoric in a new profession. This society has given me so much as an actor. My whole life has been in the limelight. I can't complain. I still do, but I should, because they've given me fame, they've given me money. Here I am still doing interviews, as you say, at 63.
Yes.
And there are people listening to it. I should be very grateful. And what do I say? Just thank you? No, I have to give back. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is my calling. This is going to be the rest of my life.
And we're going to be waiting for it. But before we go, mundane things. How do you stay so fit, sir? I mean, is there at least a plan for the food that
I know that you're not asking because you're in doubt. You yourself are
but trust me,
you
sir,
know how.
If I can be 63 and look like that, I'd give up this right now. But you must have like a regime that you follow on a daily basis.
I try.
Yeah.
The regime is that I do what I like best, but in moderation.
Okay.
That's a trick, I think.
And if you've ever seen him walk, you've got to keep up with him. He's extremely fast. That's it's almost like he's running from one place to another place because he's got to reach over there and finish something. So it is an honor, you know, and it's always a pleasure to meet so many artists across. But like I said, 4 years ago, a lot of things changed in my life. I love reading books about a lot of people. And I said, if that can be dedicated to a person like this, I mean, I look forward to what happens with the new India and you in the coming few months and few years. Good luck in your new journey. I know you've never needed the luck earlier. Now you'll need just the support of the people which you already have. And we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Namaste.
We will see you again soon. And like I said, this interview will be available on B4U Entertainment. It'll be viewed a lot. There's so many of his views that have been viewed a lot over the last, say, 3 or 4 days. And, like his films, a lot of them will be taken back and people will write comments many years later. But like he says, you don't plan for tomorrow, you don't plan for today, you just live life, and when the moment comes, you seize it. So we're going to see this moment. Till the next time, take care. And this is Salil signing out on B4U.